Hello, my darling Taurus. How are you doing? So I'm going to just get right into this tarot reading for you, Taurus. I'm doing your weekly tarot reading, just some general energy. I'm making some predictions for you. So I have some cards laid out here, so I didn't waste your time shuffling everything, but I'm going to be pulling some extra cards to detail the story here, Taurus. I've been reading tarot cards for over 12 years. All right, what makes my tarot readings a little bit different from others as well. Yes, Taurus, I'll talk about the positive things you're manifesting at this time, but I'm also going to talk about how you go from point A to point B. I'm here for your breakthrough, Taurus. I'm not here to make you comfortable. And so what good is knowing about this wonderful stuff that you could be manifesting if you don't know how to accomplish that? And so that's where my tarot readings come in, is trying to give you a sense of guidance or direction of how to go to do that. So let's get right into this here, Taurus. First and foremost, this is going to be a card that I'm not sure if you're going to be too happy to hear, but I know it's like a tough pill to swallow for you, Taurus, in that with this temperance energy, this is a card signifying to you patience. Patience at this time, because I feel like for you, Taurus, you've been in this place of like tapping on your tapping your foot, waiting for something to come into life, waiting for perhaps like either manifestations. Maybe you put out resumes, or maybe you spoke something to a person and you're just waiting for some type of result to come in here. Things are going to be popping in, but I get like this message for you, Taurus, where you need to allow things to marinate a little bit more, leave some more space for God to create in your life, because if you were to rush the process right now and not to be patient with the manifestation, it may come in as a rushed detail. Kind of think about it like a sense of like, you don't rush the chef when they're preparing your food. You trust the process, darling. Sure, you might want the food a little bit quicker, but you went to the chef for the reason because you want a specific result. And so just because you went to the restaurant thinking that you'll have your dinner in 30 minutes, it would be nice that if that chef decides to take an hour for your food, you just want to get into the habit of practicing gratitude, Taurus, as corny as it can sound, be like, thank you for taking more time to make sure every single detail down to the decimal, down to the period, is the best match for you. Sometimes, Taurus, people need to be reminded that their spiritual team is always looking out for their best interest, in kind of like a sense, and I'm not trying to demean you or call you mature or anything, Taurus, because this is everyone, but it's just in the sense of like when a parent is telling a child not to touch this, not to do X, Y, and Z, the kid may not understand the actions that their parents did for them or told them to do until later on in life. And that's what I see is really happening in your story here. And so, Taurus, I really want you to lean into this hermit energy at this time for you. I see really at this time where the best answer for you is to go inward, is to really be about your hustle, be about what it is. Like, there's something that you want to accomplish. There's something that you set your mind to right now, Taurus. And it's really important for you to just like go focus on the task at hand. Don't pay attention to the outside noise, even if the outside noise is something that's going on in your inner circle. I'm going to be very honest right now for you, Taurus. And this is something that might not be something a lot of people want to hear, but I don't like your social life currently, to be very honest. I feel like for you, you have really emotionally matured. All right. You have really worked on yourself. You've really developed. You've really planted a lot of seeds in in yourself. That sounds a little bit weird, Taurus. You've planted a lot of seeds. You've done the shadow work. Like, that's the thing, Taurus. It's like you've done the work. And it's like every time you try to make certain relationships figure it out, maybe there's like certain family or previous relationships or even current relationships, whether it's platonic, business, or what have you, romantic even, it always feels as if you get into this place where you realize like your level of awareness is just not the same compared to the people that you're around. And so it then leads you to this place where you're questioning to yourselves, like, am I crazy? Because the thing about it is, Taurus, is like when you're around narcissists, like if you grew up in a family of narcissists, Taurus, like you feeling emotions can make you feel like you're crazy, or if anyone that has dealt with an extremely toxic person, you can, especially if you get that constant exposure, which I feel like you've had, you really start internalizing. It's like, wait, am I the problem? You're not the problem here, Taurus. Like, you really have done the personal work, but you cannot expect other people to keep up with you. That's the hardest lesson that I've had to learn as well, Taurus, is that especially when there's been certain, especially when it came to like recently for me, Taurus, it's been like family for me, where it's like, I can do all this personal work, especially for us spiritual folks, Taurus, the ones that, regardless of what you personally practice, spiritual people to me just is acknowledging that there's a sense of like there's stuff going on that's beyond our current awareness, our physical senses, right? So you have this sense of extra awareness as a spiritual person. And when you're doing this work, you're developing at a much faster pace than normal people. And so it's important for you to acknowledge this, not for you to use that and feed this as an ego to put yourself from a pedestal. That's where it gets toxic and some people get lost in the sauce, Taurus. It's more so putting things in perspective where it's like, all right, I'm going to do all this personal work so then I can, have that magician energy manifest the world that you want to see, right? Using your spiritual gifts, using your spiritual awareness to your advantage in this physical realm, right? It's like having the cheat sheet code when you're working with spirit, using that to your advantage, Taurus. And it's like, because we have all these extra tools that other people are not aware of, they are not able to keep up. And so we are the average spiritual person is just leagues ahead emotionally because they know what shadow work is. Because even though shadow work is a concept tokened by Carl Jung, it's very popular in a lot of occult practices and just the esoteric in general. There's a huge relationship with shadow work and spirituality. And so because you're aware about it, you then do this personal work, and then there'll be certain people in your life that, like families especially, it's like you will do the work and then it's just like that one toxic mother or that toxic sister, whatever the case is, that toxic friendship that you really gave too many chances to, arguably probably like 3 years ago, right? Or that family member, you're like, you know what, this is enough's enough, Taurus, right? You do this work and then you come back to them where it's like you're meeting up again. It's just like, and then you try to connect and it's like, wait, you didn't do the work that I did during this time. Like, what did you spend all this time doing? Right. And I feel like what did this person spend this time doing? And don't worry, Taurus, we're going to move on from this in a moment, but the messages needed to come out and clear because there is a lot of relevant career things going on for you and just the projects at hand. Emperor card, pride. So to you, Taurus, it feels as if you really struggle with people that have seen you at a point in time in your life, and they are not able to evolve that thinking to now. That's something I've struggled with a lot, Taurus, is that especially with family members and even on this channel, even like I'll be very vulnerable about certain things I talk about. And then people see these examples, or my family members have seen me growing up and they're unable to see how much I've developed since then, right? When I talk about things on YouTube, people see me from this place of where I've gone through these struggles, but I'm able to talk about it because I've overcome it, right? And so you have to accept the fact, Taurus, it doesn't matter how much personal work that you do that then shifts the perspective of everyone that you see in your life. These people are not able to do that because they have a pride issue. They consistently have this sense of where like you're not going to break that pattern for them. The world card coming in here in the reverse. So it's double world card here. Taurus, I asked you the question of who are you being way too patient to that, or gave them way too many chances to that really don't deserve it, who, if you were to just call a spade and not have to worry about the perception or having to explain what you mean, who do you feel as if that you acknowledge that you are just way out of their league mentally, emotionally? Maybe they just lack their awareness. Again, no fault in saying it, because the moment you identify it, you can break the cycle or the pattern of trying to make something work out with that and setting you back. And then you can go forward and facilitate beautiful spiritual connections that your spiritual team is trying to get you into connection with, right? But first and foremost for you, Taurus, it's really important for you to have, we're going to get into now just about you, Taurus, because enough about those other folks, right? They're irrelevant to you. Now you have that Queen of Cups, that Two of Wands, Taurus, the Hermit energy. Like, y'all need to really honor like what's going on internally right now. You have the High Priestess in your energy, so you're really getting a lot of spiritual intuitive messages currently, a lot of guidance. And I want there to be more action for you, Taurus, all right? Because I see the Taurus that chooses to take action and chooses to ride in silence. For example, Taurus, like I've been working on a lot of things behind the scenes, honey. My posting schedule has been sporadic, but it's for good reason, because I have so much going on behind the scenes that no no one even knows about, because once I have it out there, that's going to speak for itself, right? And so I'm willing to take this period of time where I'm not really, I don't talk to anybody, Taurus, because I have a vision in mind of what I'm trying to set my future out to be. And so I'd rather take the personal sacrifice right now rather than constantly having to be reminded by any type of connection where it's like, oh my gosh, these people just do not have the mindset. They haven't done the work. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to put myself in an environment where only high vibrational people can survive or thrive. You know, I hate the word like high vibe, low vibe, and all that. It's very egotistical, but you know what I mean, in the sense of someone that wants to do spiritual work, someone that, you know, just is motivated, that isn't content with living in an echo chamber. That's really what I mean. I want to really clarify that, because again, I hate like the low vibe, high vibe type of conversation, Taurus. It's just like, girl, this sounds so much just like some type of clickiness in like high school. Like, girl, bye. I cannot be bothered with that Heather type of treatment. Anyways, what I get for you in your projects, the things that you're working on in your physical world right now, Taurus, things like, it's like you have invested in a lot of avocado seeds. And what I mean by this, Taurus, is that if you're familiar with plants, is that it takes like 20 years for an avocado tree to bear fruit, right? And I'm not saying it's going to take 20 years for certain things to come into manifestation for you, Taurus, but because these seeds have already been well planted, darling. Like, you already have been started to do the work here with that Seven of Pentacles. Like, the efforts have already started going in there. So the years have already been under your belt, right? And again, 20 is just like the example. So don't get too lost on the specific detail, my friend. But it's like you have like these avocado plants that you invested into, because it's like, and again, I feel like that's been like your whole life in general, even when it comes to relationships and just everything. It's just like you think about the long term of how this person could serve you and vice versa, how, you know. And so when it comes to your projects, and again, I think this is in response to that hermit energy for those that take heed. I see you in this place, Taurus, of where during your heaviest of days, where it's like you're having to deal with like a lot of stress or dramas, perhaps like your car, like the scenario I see, and again, don't get lost in the details, but it's like with that Ten of Wands energy, it's like, you know, a lot of people take this in two ways. The Ten of Wands in like a negative way is a sense of where it's like you're having a lot of stuff that's weighing on your shoulders that you're dealing with. And I see some type of blessing coming in here because of that Queen of Pentacles responding to that Seven of Pentacles, in the sense of where the avocado plant that you've been investing into is about to be bearing fruit after a long period of time that nothing has come into fruition here, right? That's why you see this Wheel of Fortune. Girl, where is the Wheel of Fortune? That's why you see that Wheel of Fortune, and it's being complemented by that Queen of Pentacles, right? And so for you, Taurus, it's like for those who choose to work in silence right now and continue investing in their seeds that they have planted, I see avocados bearing fruit for you in the coming days, right? And so, yeah, you may not, like, your story is a sense of where it's like no one really understands your vision or what it is that you're trying to accomplish besides you, because only you can plant those avocado seeds and saw the potential in them, right? And so you're going to be rewarded for it, but it's going to take a little bit of marinating, right? And so that's the tarot reading that I have for you today, Taurus. Hopefully something in here resonated. If it did, and you're looking for further clarity in your life, you can book a tarot reading with me one-on-one privately through my website linked down below, SimplyVelca.com, and I'll be talking to you later, Taurus. Good luck.